Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Docket.
So
What up?
happy Mother's Day, late to everybody because this will be the day after Mother's Day when it goes live.
Yeah,
But still,
Mother's Day was yesterday.
Happy Mother's Day to you, Griff.
yeah, it's my first
Yeah.
one. Yeah. That was nice. I got flowers. It was cute. I was surprised. I did not expect. So, you know.
He's a sneaky devil sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, I am.
I will tell you.
Go
Go ahead. No, you.
I was just gonna say, I keep everyone's expectations low so that when I do something, it just blows their expectations out of the water. It's like, oh, I don't care, I'm not gonna do anything. But then they come out with flowers in a card, and they're like, oh my god.
Actually, he didn't even have the card. He had the nugget, and the nugget had the card, which I'm surprised did not go immediately in his mouth, but it stayed dry, so that was good.
I had to stick it in his hand, too.
It took him 3 weeks to train that, you know. You weren't around. He was training him not to eat it.
Clearly.
So it took him 9 months.
Hey, we haven't made it to 9 months. It'll be 9 months tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, 9 months tomorrow.
Not close enough.
But I was gonna say that I needed that little surprise after last night because Chicken was streaming Resident Evil, which I know he's gonna talk about here in a minute. But while he was doing that, I was like, okay, well, Kat and I can go play some Ark then. We should never be left unattended in that game, ever. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take. We've got these new Allosauruses and this fuzzy T-Rex thing that we need to level up some because they're going to be for a boss soon. And I'm going to take them out and level them and eat stuff on the beach. No big deal. And so I was doing that, and my sister was on her bird just following me around and watching this murder tornado destroy everything because it was funny. And there was a shark in the water, and it was like on the shore in the water basically. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just eat that. And there was one right next to it. So I was like, well, we'll get that one too. And I turned around after we had started murdering the second shark and realized that there were jellyfish that came, like, basically were right at the beach, and right out from the beach is this ledge that goes into the drop-off of the deep water. And I guess they were right under that ledge and saw an opportunity. So they just came up out of nowhere, and they're shocking my little pack here. And I was like, no, I wonder if I can jump in and distract the jellyfish. And I told Kat to call the dinosaurs so they would try to go out of the water with her once they were unstunned. I died. I lost one of the Allosauruses. Lost the fuzzy T-Rex. I was like, no, why?
It's called a Utyrannus.
Fuzzy T-Rex. I don't care what it's really called. It doesn't matter to me. And I was like,
that's why he
I
died.
like how you say the real name for one dinosaur, and then you say fuzzy T-Rex for the other one.
Well, because they don't have a cute thing that they look like. I mean, so they have to use their real name. What else am I going to call it? My pack of squashes, because I named all of the Allosauruses after squashes. So
Today I learned that there are a shitload of names for squashes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've been learning a lot about vegetables.
Apparently.
But I was like, okay, well, that's fine. We can go get another pack of... we can go get a replacement aloe, because there's always some in this certain area, and we'd already built a little pen to get the last ones. So we went and got those, no problem. And then I'm like, okay, let's go to the cold area. We'll get a Utyrannus. And then we'll be good. We will have replaced the things that I lost. It's not what I intended to do tonight, but it's what it is. Not at all. Not at all. Would have been fine. Like, singled out one of the fuzzy ones, and it was murdering a mammoth. I'm like, all right, it's distracted, so we can shoot it from this rock while it's distracted. It's almost tranked, and it killed the mammoth. And then looked towards us, and see, we're both wearing otters, because that keeps you warm in the cold. And this is an otter that Kat has been very attached to since she got it, Mr. Otterton. Mr. Otterton and Jellybean both got feared, so they ran off when it turned at us and yelled. And we didn't realize that. And then I get punted off of the mountain. So I didn't die from the fuzzy thing killing me, really. I died because it knocked me off the mountain, and I died from fall damage. And then immediately, like, as soon as I hit the ground and fell down, I saw it fall on my body. And I was like, I'm so mad right now, but at least you committed too. And then we had this whole epic adventure of trying to get my body back and trying to find the otters. They died, by the way. It was really tragic. We had a rough night. We should never be allowed to play that game unattended, apparently. So, Now, I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I could put up the server tonight while he's streaming again and we can go find some otters. But the otters are most common around this really dangerous area. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to risk it 2 nights in a row.
Oh, all you got to do is pick up an otter and drop it near the water base.
Well, I tried to tame one last night.
There's so little.
And it's really hard. You have to kill a fish and then drag the fish corpse to the otter, and there's a little pop-up. But the thing is that pop-up is hidden under the command to drop the fish. So you have to get it in just the right, way so that you don't throw the fish on the ground without feeding it to the otter. And the otter's like...
There's something buggy about the game Ark.
I know, right?
No,
it's not buggy.
no.
It's just a poor design is what it is.
It's not buggy. It's intended. Poorly intended.
But I had one 75% tamed, and apparently otters are kind of rare. I had one 75% tamed, and one of the mean Brontos turned around and stepped on it. And I was like, okay, we're going to call it for the night, Cat. I'm going to bed. I just can't.
That's why you put them in the water pen. That's how I tamed the other ones.
Well, it was
Or at
like
least
past
near
the
the
tame, it's
water
going to
pen.
be easy. There wasn't anything else that was mean over in that area. And
That was your first mistake. Nothing in Ark is ever easy.
Dodos are.
Fair.
But yeah, so I had a rough time. But my only silver lining to anything gaming wise this week is we downed KT, and my Cyberpunk is fixed thanks to the newest patch. Yay! At least there's something. Now when will I get to play it? Question mark. So that's what I did. Chicken, you wanna gush over Resident Evil, or you want to talk about something that you've been doing that's maybe not
I only played. Yeah. Well, I went a full we had storms and stuff Tuesday, so it was horrible because I didn't have any internet. Most of the town didn't have any internet for hours upon hours. Then the electricity went out, so there was no video games to be played. I did find out something very interesting from Xbox, which I was not aware of, which is if you have purchased a game digitally from Xbox, it does not matter whether you have logged in said game before or not. It will not let you play it if you're not online.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was a little pissed. Because I was like, okay, not dealing with that.
Origin's similar. I tried to log into I tried to start one of my EA games, and you have to be able to have Origin logged onto the internet, apparently, to access it.
Hey. That argument from last week where if you buy something, it should be yours.
I mean, I think you can, with those, I think you can still run them from the EXE files, but I was like, I'm not going to look for that right now. I've got 4 hard drives. I don't know.
But I don't understand how Steam can do it with no problems, because they're like, okay, you already used your licensing by logging in the very first time. We've checked your license accordingly. It's attached to your account on this particular machine, right? But my Xbox, which literally, it's not like I'm like, all right, guys, here you go. I got all these games. You can now play these wherever you want to go. I'm not going to do that with an Xbox. So I don't understand why they won't do it. PlayStation will. PlayStation allows that to happen, but I don't get it. I don't understand it at all.
We've learned a lot
whatever.
this week. This was a real learning week.
But we were going to play Friday night. We were going to play the Zombie Army 4. We had set the whole thing up. Old man was like, hey, we'll play this. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. We'll do that. Which is, I believe, a Horde game. I didn't play it, so I can't tell you if it was or not. But we found out it's not cross-platform. Even though it's on Game Pass for both the Xbox and PC, it is not
That's weird.
cross-platform.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not cross. And so I was fine because I was on my Xbox Series X, because I was like, the more games I can play on this, the more I can justify the fact that I have it, right? And the games look great on it. So, and I was fine with that. But No Pants doesn't even have his Xbox hooked up because he plays everything on PC nowadays. So he didn't play anything, and he was like, okay, because they moved a few months ago, and when he moved, he just didn't unpack it. So I was like, okay. And then, so I was like, all right, well, let's play something else. So we ended up playing Deep Rock Galactic, because that's kind of our go-to, just as enjoyable. And the first thing we did is I was like, let's try to play this a little harder than we're used to. And we were weaker than we normally are. So when you go to try to hit something with the mining tool to try to kill them, if you're trying to use a melee, you're not as strong as you normally are. And then on top of that, it was low oxygen. The only oxygen source was the thing you drop down on top of, because it was one of the ones where you have to attach these pipes across an area, which was great because everybody was dying constantly.
Nice.
or down constantly, and I'm trying to pick them all up. And so we ended up changing it, moving it over to a different one after we all died out on that one. But we had fun. It was I really enjoy that game, and it still amazes me as you level up how more difficult the game, those parts that normally were easy to you, get. I think the game does a really good job balanced wise to make it to where you don't feel OP or anything like that when you're playing through the game. Even though you're increasing with the hit damage and things like that on your weapons, or even you can unlock new weapons if you do the right stuff on that too. So it's pretty awesome. We had a good time. That was really the only thing I got to do yesterday. I sang karaoke on Glimish instead of playing video games, so not a lot of video games on that one, but that's pretty much all I got done for the week. And we did some Outriders last Sunday, which I still enjoy the game, but it's one of those where it's like I'm to the point I kind of want to move on from Outriders, just because it is kind of the same thing over and over again. Like, I enjoy the game, but it's one of those where it's like, okay, go through, kill all the bad guys, and
Mission
this is the part of the storyline we've gotten to. You know, so it's a lot of.
Have you done all the end game dungeons?
I have not. We're trying to get through the storyline, like beat the storyline. We'll probably end up doing that today. I didn't want to play Outriders today, but we don't have another option. No Pants and I are trying to find a game we can agree on that's a survival style game, because that's what he and I like usually playing together. And right now we haven't found one that we both care to play. He's found one he wanted to play, and I found one I wanted to play, but neither one of us really want to play the others. So we'll find one. We'll find one and go from there. But that's pretty much all I got. I have watched some Resident Evil. I watched Chicken play, which I'll be happy to hear what he says on it. And then I've watched a friend of mine, Covent, play through it too. That's ahead of where Chicken's at, and I will have to say that I'm quite impressed with the game. Like, it looks pretty awesome, but overall, I'll give it to you, Chicken, since that's your game.
I'll let Baka go so that we could transition into the articles and whatnot afterwards.
That'll work.
What have you done, Baka?
I played Pokemon Snap a little bit.
How is it?
Are you enjoying it?
I like it. I mean, if you're a fan of the old one, you'll probably like this one just fine. There's no pester balls anymore.
There's no what?
Pester balls.
The pester
What is
balls,
that?
which you threw to basically piss off the Pokemon.
You use them to agitate them or get them to do things.
Yeah, like
Oh.
certain ones, if you hit them in the old
That
game,
sounds
with the pester
mean.
ball,
Yeah, it does. That's what I was thinking. I was like, wow, that's kind of harsh.
Okay, one of the greatest moments in the original one was there was a Charmeleon on a little rock in a volcano, and you could hit him with a pester ball and it would knock him into the lava, and then Charizard would blast out of the lava, and you would get this perfect picture of him in his like full posed glory.
Yeah, there
Glorious.
was also another one where if you hit a Magikarp with it at some point, knocked him into a waterfall, it would pop out through the waterfall as a Gyarados.
Yes.
Okay, so basically it was
Sounds
designed
mean.
to make them transform.
Well, it was also to kind of push. Yeah, well, not sometimes it was the transform. It was interesting because it was like a puzzle aspect where it's like, what can you do? How can you move them? How can you make them interact?
Is there an aspect that allows that to happen in this one at all? That's without the pester
Well,
ball?
you can throw the little apple-looking things, which some Pokemon will interact with and eat. So some of them you can hit them with, and they'll kind of move and do something. Then there's like these little illuminating ball things you get in a couple of the stages so far that I've unlocked. That you hit, and it makes the Pokemon glow, and some of them will interact a bit differently with it on.
just seems kind of mean. You're like, I want to take a different picture of you sleeping, Pokemon. Let me throw a rock at your face. Now do something.
These
Wow.
These Pokemon take thunderbolts from each other. You think a rock is gonna really
It's
cause any
sleeping.
damage?
You just
it's not
assaulted
even-
that poor thing.
They assault each other.
It's not even a rock. It's a fruit.
Well, still, you threw something while it was sleeping and hit it in the face because you wanted to take a picture. You're still a jerk.
Well, it needs to get up and entertain me.
Exactly.
Get up and entertain me, Pokemon. Now.
I feel like this game is teaching kids the wrong thing.
Oh, really?
I
You want to say that now,
I-
30 years after we've been making them fight? We basically enslave them and then make them fight.
Yeah.
And you want to say
stick him
throwing rocks at
inside
them
of
is
a
bad.
tiny like crate ball thing, and say you're only coming out when I say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and to be fair, if it's like me, I've got a few that I just wanted to have that I don't actually, use that often. And so it's one of those, they're sitting in balls for a very long time versus the ones I use all the time. At least they're getting out and active. Now, thanks. You just ruined Pokemon for me. I appreciate that.
That's what I do. I am the ruiner.
Oh, that's funny.
But I did that. I played around with Jedi Fallen Order because it was free, so I downloaded it and I've been playing through it. I think I'm at the last boss now.
You enjoy it? I have really enjoyed that game.
I've been enjoying it so far. Yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit like there's tiny elements of Dark Souls in there, and like Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like with the combat, like you have to learn how to block and parry. Especially with certain enemies, or you're just gonna have a really hard time getting to them.
Well, and I the thing I thought was really interesting about that game was some people you're fighting, it's better to have the single lightsaber, and some it's better to have the double lightsaber. But what I thought was very interesting that they did, where like with Dark Souls, you go and pick up your soul after you've died or whatever, it's attached to whatever killed you last. It to go back, and you have to kill that particular thing in order to be able to get your.
You don't even have
back.
to kill it. You just have to hit it.
Oh, that's true.
You get it back. It's more for forgiving like that, compared to Dark Souls, but it definitely you can see where it has the elements and inspiration of it mixed into the game.
What about the plot line? Because it is canon. Do you like what they're doing with the canon? Or I actually think it's one of the better plot lines that they've done in Star Wars in a while.
I don't really have any kind of issues with the story or anything with it so far. So, I mean, it's basically because even in Legacy canon, there's always been the established lore of that. Yeah, so some Jedi did escape the purge and went into hiding.
Right.
Same thing with Padawans and stuff like that. And this is just kind of one of those stories. It could easily have fitted into before Disney got their hands into it. It doesn't seem like it's trying to do like what the sequel movies have been doing lore wise.
Right. I got you.
Yeah, I did that. Last night I stayed up till 4:30 in the morning.
Why?
Making
did,
money.
I made some money. I joined a Nax GD KP.
And wow.
And yeah, because I was like, well, I mean, Burning Crusade's about to come out, and I want to go through Nax at least once. So yeah, I joined that, made like 747 gold out of it. We
my sugar daddy.
Four horsemen, got KT and the dragon. My brain's
Saffron.
Saffron. We got those three left to go, and we're gonna go again Monday night.
Woo.
Nice.
Earlier though,
Nice.
but the group seemed to be doing well. We hit a couple of wipes here and there. One of them was actually on Trash, the spider lady, like when we were pulling the trash, the person accidentally pulled spiders as well.
Yeah.
So
that'll do it.
That'll happen.
yeah, that bite us once. We screwed up once on the safety tanks because the main tank screwed up in well the tank screwed up in there, and then threat just got out of control. So then that kind of screwed us, and then the very first boss in the spider quarter, we wiped on that because a couple of people weren't spread out enough, so the scarabs kind of changed. So yeah, three times wiping, not bad.
That's not bad at all. I will give you this warning though. I don't know how long ago it's been since you've done it, but those last 3 bosses make all the rest of what you did last night seem easy. 4 Horsemen, Saffron, and KT are just a different.
After we got patchwork down, like everything else, but I felt like a loot pinata. Although the plant guy that does the shadow damage and you can't heal, I died right at the very end of it.
Lotheb, yep.
Lotheb.
That's been me.
He
before.
is a bitch. Oh yes, he is a bitch. There's a couple of them that are kind of a little difficult, like Patchwork and Lotheb are definitely the complicated, like the difficult ones. Everybody else is more loot pinata. You just got to pay attention to mechanics. But those last 3, the 4 Horsemen, Saffron, and KT, oof, those guys.
Here's the thing: is like I'm listening to you all talk about this, and all I can think about is like that very first raid that they created for Destiny, and like how quick it took people to beat it, and how quick it's taken every raid. Yeah, I think so. And how quick it's taking everyone to beat them now when they come out. And it's like, see, this is.
To be fair, because I just had this conversation before too. To be fair, people beat this place within a few hours of it releasing back in December.
Yeah, but it's because now they've been playing it on private servers for so long, and
that they have
min-maxers know everything. So you know.
but we're talking about never before seen.
Well, yeah, I mean when it came out the first time,
a game that's been out 25 years, or however long it is.
Yeah.
It's like, you all working through it is just because some of you have never played it before, or it's been so long since you played it. Either way, right?
It also takes a little time to kind of build some synergy so that you all of your players are somewhat competent and can handle.
You say that, but Bago went to the GDKP last night with people that he's never met, so some of it is
and
synergy,
that's why I
some
said
of it's
competency.
Some of the healers in one of the tanks, the main tank, we're all part of a guild that they've cleared it several times, and they were leading the charge, and then it just took us like maybe 40 minutes to an hour to really kind of get into a group to really work together, and because everyone in there, like no one came across as like, hey, I just bought this character because well, whatever, like everyone in there it was either on an alt or main, and they knew how to play their class. They knew what they were doing, even if they hadn't been in there before. They still had a general understanding of how the fights worked, and but once they saw it in action for themselves, they adapted quickly and was like, cool, I've got this now.
Competency.
Other than the few hiccups and stuff we had here and there, everything went pretty well.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Hopefully you get to see the next 3 go down. Just remember, if you need any advice on 4 Horsemen, I'll fill you in. But that fight is so complicated.
Yeah, if you want to go over with me a bit later, just to get an idea of what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't know their setup, but I can kind of give you an idea of what to look out for when you're doing
They were doing like very safe styles of running things, like the strats and stuff, because of the fact like this is their first time ever doing it without like a full guild run. The guy leading it only set it up like 48 hours prior.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So yeah, like I mean, he did a really good job of running down and going, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We had a guy who had never been in there on a Shadow Priest before, doing some of the mind control stuff.
Oh, that's a big job.
He walked him through like, okay, this is exactly what you need to do. Um, you know, got a couple like hiccups with it here and there, but it wasn't like a wipe. He didn't die. We got everything under control. So they did a really good job.
That's good. That's
Awesome.
Good. Oh, I'm glad it's going well.
All right, Chicken, what you got, bud?
Okay. Well, I played WoW, of course. We downed KT. We are now 15 out of 15. We've seen all of Nax. I'm so excited. Like, this should be our last week of rating too before pre-patch comes out. So
I need this break.
Last time before we're all done for Classic, at least rating wise. Let's see. Anything else? No. Okay. So I started Resident Evil 8 yesterday. And I am enjoying the shit out of it. First of all, now can I talk about the first little part?
What first little part?
The first part. Just how it plays out ish. Not names or anything like that.
Say something really generalized.
Then I'll just be like this. It's very, very similar to Resident Evil 4. Like, I'm not going to say anything about it, but it plays, like, the intro to Resident Evil 8 is almost identical to the intro of Resident Evil 4. Like, they really took what worked in Resident Evil 4 and worked it into Resident Evil 8. Like, and when you play it, and if you play the other one, you will totally understand what I'm talking about. Like, I was like, wow, this really feels like I'm playing a first-person version of Resident Evil 4. Because the stories plays out pretty closely, imitation-wise. Everybody's seen the merchant. There's a merchant in there. He even makes a joke about the Resident Evil 4 merchant, which is hilarious, too. Apparently, they're friends.
Oh,
so, there's that. Because he even says, because he's like, what are you buying? That's just something my old friend used to say. So I was like, oh, okay. So, this guy in his name is the Duke. And he's very jolly and friendly. A lot more friendly than I thought he'd be.
He reminds me of, if you've ever seen the versions of A Christmas Carol, where it's the big jolly king ghost that, like, there's that big massive ghost that just kind of sits on his throne. That's what he reminds me of.
But you basically buy stuff and weapons and upgrades and things like that. Very, very similar to Resident Evil 4. That's part of the reason why this game is doing so well. But the block mechanic from Resident Evil 7 is in this too. It's in my opinion, it's just completely broken. Like that makes the game so easy. Because seriously, yes. I just pull out the knife 90% of the time, and I put myself into a corner, and I go slash.
His
block,
knife is like a
slash,
butter knife, though.
Slash. Block, and then I just block. Like, I can take like 9 or 10 hits before my health goes from green to orange or yellow. It's like, cool.
The stairs are also broken.
Oh, yes. Like, if you stand at a certain level on the stairs, when they try to lunge at you, it's because the level is off. So when they lunge, they miss. So I just slash, lunge, miss. Slash, lunge, miss. And then I just keep doing that until they die. As you can tell, I started limit testing early on to try to see what you're capable of doing. And I learned, I broke down the mechanics pretty quickly, so I've figured out how to move through the game as safely as possible, because I think at one point I had like 110 handgun bullets, because I just don't shoot anything, I just stab it all. And I use the shotgun for the bosses, so it's like, oh no, stab. Oh, boss time, let me pull this out real quick. Also the weapon swapping thing, because I notice everything. I think our main character's got like 12 hands.
Because of how he swaps weapons?
Yeah, like he holds the shotgun like this, and then when you pull out the pistol, it goes like this. Like, it's like, where does the shotgun go, and how are you pulling the pistol out of your holder so quickly? Because you do it really fast, so his hands, like, you can see like 4 or 5 hands on the screen at one time.
Yep.
He's making up for the fingers.
Yeah, apparently.
He's the new Spider-Man.
Apparently, little emphasis on the spider part. The story is pretty good so far. I'm worried about how they're going to end it because there's a lot of interesting enemy designs in this. Like they've made some of the lower end enemies explainable, so it's like, all right, cool, I see how these things are made. I see where you're coming from with these. Now what about the other ones? How did we get to this point to these are the enemies? Because every other Resident Evil game explains it. Like in Resident Evil 7, you figured out what happened by the end of the game, like what made them that way. Same thing with Resident Evil 4, what made them that way. All the Resident Evils, you found out what made them. This one, you gotta tell me. You gotta tell me how it transitioned from what it was to this now. So I'm done probably with about a third of the game. And I cleared the whole castle because I'm a completionist like that. Every room of every part of everywhere in that area was cleaned out. I got everything.
That's the way Coven was playing it as well, and I was dying because it was like you go, you guys don't mind if I go back, right? Because there's area. Because for those that don't know, it's basically if it's red, it means there's shit in it. If it's blue, it's cleared. So he was heading back in and doing the same type of thing. But he had the same thing with the pistols that you were talking about. The fact that he had all this ammo and he was like, I'm not worried about ammo. And he had, I guess, all the stuff because you can build your own, I guess. Mm-hmm. So he was like, I can just build as much as I want because I have all this stuff for crafting.
Yeah, same
but
thing
I guess
here.
if you're a completionist, though, I guess that's kind of how it's going to end up anyway, right? Because you're picking up all that shit to be able to craft things.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's an interesting concept. I like it. I'll say this one thing about it, but whatever, I don't know how the evolution, like the green herbs from the original game, I totally understand how you can eat one and fucking feel perfect because, oh my goodness, the green herbs, the healing in this world, whatever these green herbs are made out of is like miracle juice. You just pour it on your hand and
you're all better.
Perfectly fine.
It's like
you're
the med kits in Left 4 Dead and things like that. It's like, oh no, you got bit in the back. Okay, just put this Band-Aid on your leg. You're fine.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean,
but Far Cry did the same thing, right?
Yep.
You just always wrapped your left arm.
Yeah.
Yep. Or popped a bullet out or reset your finger. It's like, I got stabbed.
Oh yeah.
I'm fine now.
If you play through it, you will totally understand like the seriousness of that. Like it's not just, oh, you took some damage, you heal yourself. Like there are certain scenes in that where you're like, wow, that stuff is some seriously good healing.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, goodness, I need some of that. It's like the miracle cure for anything. It's what the snake oil salesman keeps in the back. Yeah, it's
I wake up in the morning, my back's hurting or my knee's hurting because there's rain coming. Whatever happens to be, miracle juice.
Be like, pour some on your head real quick. Oh, all right, feel better. I'm 100% now.
Yeah, quicker your hair like a chia pet.
But I've enjoyed the game so far. The enemy variation is pretty good so far. I've seen like I don't know, like 4 or 5 different types of enemies. And since it's so similar to Resident Evil 4, the one main difference that I feel is that 8 feels enclosed. Like it's like the fighting and the style that the game, it feels tighter. Like it's not as open or spread, and the enemies don't feel as threatening because you can control them a lot better. Like in 4, a lot of the areas were more open and the enemies could flank you in different ways and things like this one. Like that, and this one it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you could control the flow of the gameplay very easy.
I was very interested because when I came in on your stream last night was near when you were ending your night. But what I thought was interesting is you were able to literally kite one of them around, and it was like you were in no hurry whatsoever. And I was like, how long has he been in this one little level with this person chasing him? Because like you're looking around, all of a sudden you're not even looking back, and it's like da 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 da, and then you hear the person talk, right? Because I don't want to give away what's happening. But you hear the person talk, and you just kind of move forward, and I hear the swiping of barely, almost getting hit, and you just keep walking around, and I'm like, okay,
Like I said, you learn to control the game to your. And that room, by the way, I was done with that area, and I was like, okay, because I was like, I'm just gonna say fuck it, I'm not gonna worry about that room because it was the last room. But I found everything everywhere else, and that was the last room that was red. And I was like, fine. If you're gonna make me do it, I'm just gonna go ahead and find it. So I was running around that room trying to find that last item.
It was in a bush too, of all damn things.
Yeah, it was in a bush. It was in a damn bush. Yes. One, they added things into the ceilings, just so people know. There are secret items like they did in Resident Evil 4, where they put things in the rocks and the ceilings and whatnot, and you could shoot them out and you could sell them. And Resident Evil 4, they were very, very, very liberal with giving you I can't think of the word for it. Connection items, where you could put items together and make them worth more. And they did that one time. So if you find an item that looks like it's not full, you can find the other piece, put them together, and sell it for more. And that kind of felt like, oh my god, it's the big treasure thing. And it's like, but it's not really. Because 4, there were several pieces of stuff that you could find and put them together and sell it for more. This one, it's like one. So far, at least.
There was one part that, and I'll be interested, like, as you play through it and get further into it, where I know Covent was at last night. He was disappointed with it. It wasn't really a storyline, but he didn't understand why. It didn't make sense to him of what you had to do gameplay wise to get to where you needed to go. And I'm interested to see, once you get to that point, if your feelings are exactly the same or not. So I'm going to watch a little bit of you tonight. Hopefully, I'll be streaming as well, but hopefully I'll get to watch you a little bit tonight to see if that feeling is the same for you as it was for him, because he's also a big fan. I think you're a much bigger fan than he is, but he's also a big fan of it. But I thought it was very interesting to see.
There was one continue error that I felt. It was early on, like you get thrown out of a building, and when you get up and after the scene plays out, you look back and there's nothing different. And I stood around for like 5 minutes trying to find like how this scene played out, and it wasn't right. I'll explain after the podcast to you guys, but I was like, how did that scene happen? Like, where did I come from? Because that was something else. Like I looked around all the houses, on top of the house. Like I didn't see where he was thrown from. Like I could not figure out where he was thrown from.
So it's almost like they removed a scene, or just was like forgot to add part of a thing to change it.
Yeah, like you look back where you came from and there's nothing there. It's like, how did that work? Where did I come from?
Yeah, it's magic.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna play it some more. I played it yesterday. Since this is Monday, I played it yesterday. Hopefully, I enjoyed it just as much as I did the day before. I talk from the future.
Well, you're not the only one. Yeah, you're not the only one that seems to be enjoying the game either. Apparently, it is the fastest selling Resident Evil game on PC, with 101,000 people peaking on it on May 7th. So that's pretty awesome.
That's crazy. That's a lot of people
playing a single player game, but single player games are dead. Just saying,
Yeah, that eclipsed Resident Evil 2 remakes, which saw a concurrent of 74,000 players. Like, right. Oh yeah, single player games dead.
And that's a game. That's a game. If you think about the Resident Evil remake stuff, it's like it's one of those where people have already played through it and love the game, love the series, everything else, want to go back and play that remake version of the game versus a brand new version of it that they've never played, never seen, or whatever. And maybe they just have a fetish for very tall women. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
That kind of helps with the internet going nuts with her.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. So what else we got news-wise, guys?
In quickie news, Burning Crusade's coming out in June. It should be June 1st. Is when that'll be launching. So pre-patch is next week or week after next, though. It starts on the 18th, where we'll have access to Space Goats if you're Alliance and access to Blood Elves if you're Horde. So that's gonna be fun, and I am so looking forward to pre-patch because it means a break from raiding, and then I just can't wait for Burning Crusade. I want to go to Outlands.
Yep. Taking my warrior through Burning Crusade, taking my warrior through Wrath of the Lich King. I will be the one standing at the steps of Arthas's throne, ready to throw down with that fool. I promise you that. I will see you in Northrend.
Yep. So that was kind of quick and easy.
Yeah.
There's also a registration for a Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale that looks like a mobile game.
It is a mobile
coming
game.
out.
Oh, is it a mobile game? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's mobile. I don't understand why everybody has to do the Battle Royale stuff, but also if you think about a few weeks ago when we talked literally about a company that is making money off of a Call of Duty mobile game and is now one of the richest of the companies that's out there, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever that Square Enix is getting in on it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I just don't see this one working out too well. I mean, whatever.
I mean, are you gonna
Whatever.
have? Is it gonna be kind of like Spellbreak, where you're gonna have kind of like a magic powers type thing, or
I mean,
is it
it
gonna
looks
be?
like there's the option for magic stuff, so... And I mean, that would be very on par with Final Fantasy, I guess. Although you are competing
true.
to be soldiers, so it wouldn't be surprise me if it was largely based on shooting and melee.
Shooting.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
button for sword, so I assume it's shooting and melee are going to be your large
Yeah.
things.
So you get
But-
close up. I'm assuming the sword will work kind of like the pickaxe thing does in Fortnite in that respect.
I guess so.
You're only going to use it when you need it. Because I don't see somebody busting out a sword at a gunfight. I just not
Probably not.
gonna do too well with that one.
What else we got? We got a lot of business stuff. I'm just looking at the
Yeah,
quickie things.
Well, one of the quick, there's not much to this one yet, but with all the lawsuits and whatnot going on, Valve is facing a class action lawsuit over Steam monopoly. Wolfire Games, developer behind Overgrowth, is leading a class action lawsuit against Steam's parent company, Valve. The suit alleges that Steam uses its near total dominance of the digital gaming market to coerce heavy commissions out of game developers and publishers. First, you don't got to put your game on Steam. Second of all, they take a cut because of what they offer you. They're not going to let you come into their house, use their toilet, their microwave, and everything else, and did not have to pay them a commission. Because they offer you a nice house.
The other interesting part about this lawsuit is the fact that you've got two gamers that are coming in and saying basically because of Steam's practices that it's costing them more money. And it's like, that it costs me. First of all, I don't know about you, but most of us wait on the damn sales when they come out. And if you're paying for a $60 game, you're going to pay for that $60 game anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Because it's a $60 game. But
That's
part of that
priceless.
practice that they have is, as well, is we've covered this on the show as well, is they actually, they're one of their complaints is the fact that they can't put the game on sale anywhere else without putting it on Steam on sale. Well, that's one of the things you sign as an actual developer, is it's set up that way on purpose. So if you're putting it on sale somewhere else, it's sell across the entire board. I mean, how many times have you seen, let's say, Doom on sale? And if you went on to Xbox, you could go on and Doom was on sale too. Doom in general would have been on sale, or whatever game, add whatever game it is. And it's just a policy that they have there. You can have it just on Steam on sale if you wanted to, but you know, it's just, and maybe these two guys really what they need to do is add more to their wish list, because I get emailed all the time about all the shit that gets on sale. It's on my wish list. So, you know, it would cost them less money in the long run, but there's too many options that are available out there. You don't have to use Steam. Please
No.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a monopoly, and anything that alleges it is going to be instantly thrown out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Steam offers you a load of options and like store pages. They give you advertisements. They basically, if your game is good, the people will sell your game for you. Like,
Well, and
it is
the other
huge.
thing about it is too, by definition of monopoly means that you're the only one, you can only get it from that particular place in the first place. It might be a generalized thing, but let's say PS4 exclusive game or PlayStation exclusive games, Xbox exclusive games, things like that are only sold on Steam. That makes it a monopoly at that particular point if they're bringing it in. But again, that's with the developer that they made that decision. But in this particular case, the only company I know of that's trying to create a monopoly is Epic, because GOG is owned by CD Projekt Red, and I can buy their fucking games anywhere.
Yep.
So Epic is the only ones I know right now that are trying to make stuff a monopoly by paying for exclusivity. I just do not understand people's argument on that one where it's a monopoly. It's just not. You don't understand what a monopoly is if you're trying to make that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got another quickie news. Back for Blood has got some news out. That's a game that y'all are very excited about.
Yes, I don't know where my article went. Like, this is one of the ones that I wanted to talk about too.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
Where's this the Left 4 Dead shooter, basically? The way that it's designed out, but they've got a card system and they've got a game director that has particular cards, and they base everything off the way the trailer looks. Anyway, it looks as though they're basing everything off of the way that you normally play, your health, how you play, and then when you start a game, the director will drop in either challenges or different things, and then you as your player can play your cards accordingly to based on what's being played by the director, which I think is a cool concept because it creates replayability. But I'd be interested to see how it's implemented and how well it works.
From what we saw in the alpha, I thought it was a lot of fun. There wasn't very many options, but like every time you play, there are different types of special infected or mutated versions of those special infected, or environmental effects like blackout, which means there's no lights on in the map, so it's extra dark and you have to use your flashlight all the way through, or there's storms or rain, or it's morning or it's night, like all these different options, and that's really good to help replayability, because that's the most important part.
I also like the fact you're not the one choosing it, because I think that helps with the replayability. Like, it'd be great to have an option to be able to choose, like nighttime, rain, stuff like that.
Well, there is versus in which you'll probably face somebody who chooses the infected's cards.
I got you. So it's a cool concept. I liked it. I thought it was a good element. I'm interested to see how it gets implemented. And that comes out fall now, right?
October 13th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. October 12th, somewhere around there. And they have explicitly said multiple times, you cannot buy cards with real money. There is no power buying in this game. They will release a cosmetic store after game release so that they can help fund it for the future, but there will be no buying power.
Thank you.
So that's good. Let's hope they stick to that.
Yeah, October 12th. It's at the bottom of the article.
October 12th, okay. I knew it was soon. Also, they did say, everybody who was in the alpha, keep an eye on your emails. You should be getting details for the summer beta here soon.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, I think the last one, well, we got one that doesn't have to do with the big giant one.
Yeah.
Sony is working on getting Discord integration into PlayStation, where you can actually be able to chat. Now, this is because they've added crossplay into it. It gives you this availability that's there. Xbox currently doesn't have it to where you can chat through the Xbox that way. So that does mean I think that the integration is going to happen. But what I feel is interesting about this is the fact that, of course, Discord recently was possibly going to get purchased by Microsoft. They said, no, we don't want to get by Microsoft, but we're going to keep the bid open just in case that they might end up doing. So what happens if Microsoft does eventually buy them and PlayStation's got this agreement with them?
There's probably a disclosure in there that says you cannot sell this to Microsoft. Like, it specifically says you cannot sell this to. We'll partner with you guys, but there's absolutely no way.
We want a percentage of the purchase, probably, if they end up doing it that way.
Yes.
But also, I don't know if any of you have ever used the voice channels for chatting on PlayStation before. But in the past, at least on the PS4, I don't know how they are on the PS5, they are trash. So this is actually a really good thing for all users on PlayStation. And I think part of that's just because of, for a long time, they didn't charge for PlayStation Plus to be able to play their games online and do all that type of stuff. And I think it's just taking its toll.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Biggie news.
Yeah. All of the crazy court stuff and things.
All right. My first take on reading a lot of this stuff is that Epic Games is so desperate, man. Like, They were searching high and low for somebody to get with, because I don't know whether they're just. It feels like they can't get bigger without somebody else helping them. It's like they don't know what to do with all their investments. They make $900 billion off of Fortnite, and they're like, what do we do with it? How about you make a shopping cart or a wish list or a review system, or I don't know, invest in your damn client.
Nah, that's
Anything.
too easy. Let's go make some partners.
But players
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
want any of that stuff.
It's like, let's give it to somebody else and have them do it for us. But anyway.
So basically, some of the information is, as this court case goes on, it's actually giving us insight on how the gaming industry in general, I think, is kind of works. One of the things I think that surprised a lot of people that maybe weren't in the know necessarily, but also didn't realize how much it really affected them, is Microsoft has actually confirmed in court that it never turns a profit on the Xbox consoles themselves. It's the aftermarket with the game sales, both digitally and as well as physically, and any of their other features that they're making money on to do it. Again, I've stated this before, they're a software company. All they worry about is being able to do it. And we've talked about the fact that they're lowering their price, or their cut, if you will, on the PC side of it when it comes to games. Well, they're not having to make up that difference. That 30% that they're making off of the consoles is paying for the console itself. And so I think this is where, as gamers, we can kind of look at this a little bit differently. From a console standpoint, if you're one of those people that's like, hey, I've got $900 or $1,000 and I want to buy the new console that's out there, but I don't like the fact that Microsoft's getting a 30% cut, or I want more money to go towards the developers and everything else. Maybe look at finding a way to build a PC, buy a PC, put money down on a PC, whatever happens to be, to where that 12% only goes to Microsoft and the rest of it's going to the developer, if that's a problem for you. I do find it interesting the way that all this is broken down, though, and some of the stuff that's come to light. And like Chicken said, it begins to show you how desperate Epic is on a lot of stuff too, because of what they're claiming. And the reason this was brought up, just so everybody knows, if you're not going to read the article, you'll know it was brought up because of the fact that the lawyers for Epic are trying to show that mobile gaming, so the price of the phone, is not equal to a console. They're showing that Apple is making a profit off the phone, and so therefore the percentage should not be as high as it is for a console. That's the proof they're trying to make right now, and the correlation between the two. And I don't know what the cut is. I'm sure it will come out at some point of what Apple's making off of a phone. I do know that with the first 3 iterations of the iPhone, they were selling them at a loss as well and making money off the App Store to make the difference. I don't know if that's still the case or not. It's a $1 trillion company. There's no telling.
No shit. I mean, it's not like we have the rights to see their business information. So.
I don't know. Maybe with
Well,
this
not
court
yet.
case, that'll shake out too.
I was about to say,
You never
we
know.
will definitely see it in the court case.
Yeah, because then it becomes
they're gonna
public
have to.
record, right?
Exactly. And they're going to have to bring it out if they want to be able to use it. And at that point, it's open. It's public information.
Exactly.
I'll say one of the things that I learned through all of this is how polite and like it's not necessarily unprofessional, but on like a more friendly level the emails are between all of these people. Like Tim Sweeney and Phil Spencer, he's like, "Hi Phil, what's up, man?" And Phil's like, "Yeah, bro, I'm sorry about all that stuff." Like, all right. It was just, I don't know. I guess my brain was like, these are high level business emails. It should be like more professional, but it is definitely on a more like familiar term.
Like,
Well, and I feel like from a gaming standpoint, those two are going to know each other. And then a Chicken pointed something out in this article before we started that I wanted him to go over, which I thought was kind of interesting. With him talking to Tim Cook, which is the CEO of Apple.
So back in 2015, Tim Sweeney decided to write a letter or an email to Tim Cook asking about the iOS App Store cut. So, which is what the lawsuit that we're in for now. And let's see, Tim separating iOS store curation from compliance review and app distribution. So basically, he's asking for a less of a cut. What he's asking for now, and Tim Cook emailed the other Apple executives and was like, "Who is this guy? Is he from one of our rehearsals or something? Like, I don't know who this is."
Oh, but that's, I mean, to be fair, Tim Cook's running Apple, the whole, like, giant mega corporation over here, and Tim Sweeney feels incredibly important in his own right, because as gamers, we know who he is, but that doesn't mean that people who aren't in the gaming sphere necessarily know him by name, and so it kind of makes sense that Tim Cook was like, I don't know who this is, can somebody fill me in before I reply? Like...
All I'm going to say is this. There's a reason there's a Mac Gamer joke meme that's been around for years. That should probably tell you whether or not he's going to know who you are there, buddy.
Yeah.
No shit.
I guess Tim just felt like, everybody should know who I am, and unfortunately that's not the case. You're important, yeah, but maybe not as important globally as you think you are.
There was also one more email from, I remember when they did the Ubisoft integration to Epic, and I kind of remember hearing something about this too, but I didn't realize how bad it was behind the scenes. Because if I'm not mistaken, Steam has Ubisoft integration too. Like, you can load up games, it pops up in your Ubisoft. Same thing with EA and Microsoft games. Like, pretty much everything is integrated into Steam now. But
right.
back in the day when they first did the integration, I'm writing this to apologize for the shortcomings in our Epic Game Store implementation and our Uplay integration. In the past 48 hours, the rate of fraudulent transactions on Division 2 surpassed 70%, which is absolutely astronomical, and was approaching 90%. Sophisticated hackers were creating Epic accounts, buying Ubisoft games with stolen credit cards, and then selling the linked Uplay accounts faster than we were disabling linked Uplay purchases for fraud. So these people were literally just spam buying and selling Uplay accounts immediately.
Yeah, the worst part about that is they didn't have a Shopman card on Epic.
So they were doing these transactions one at a time.
One at a time.
And they couldn't keep up.
I would like to point out that he also said sophisticated hackers. It's like they're using stolen credit cards. That's not all that sophisticated.
No, but they could have been hacking the credit card information, I guess.
That's
Yeah,
true.
they were probably hacking them as they were doing it.
I'm just saying, a lot of things may seem sophisticated to somebody like Tim Sweeney who didn't have the forethought to go, maybe before I implement my storefront, I should have a shopping cart.
Or some security.
Yeah. I'm never going to let those, there are things about the Epic Store launch that I will never let go. And that's...
Oh, you mean like spying on your Steam?
Yeah.
Excuse me while we hack your Steam?
Oh, we'll stop doing it now that you've noticed. I'm sorry, what? You don't even feel bad about that.
They had to shut down they had to shut down Ubisoft sales on the Epic Store for 2 weeks.
To try to figure it out.
2 weeks before they could get it fixed. Like,
man,
that's crazy, man.
Well,
like,
but you had it. That was the thing too. Is when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out on Epic, it bogged down your entire fucking computer because there was a background program.
Yep.
I don't know if it's an anti-cheat or whatever, but there's a background program inside the Epic launcher that you had to shut down in order to make the system work correctly. This was somebody figured it out to keep it from crashing. So it's like these, but 12%.
Yeah, it's like these are the basic things that Steam will offer you and GOG will offer you and other storefronts will offer you because they understand how their storefront and launcher work. Epic does not. And it's never been more evident than the evidence that we're seeing currently,
Yeah, it is unbelievable that they didn't take that Fortnite money and hire some crazy good engineers and build a really good client.
Well, I mean,
you guys,
when it can go in their pockets.
Yeah, it's
they
unbelievable.
tried to make friends with Sony. Maybe if they had been successful in earlier friendship. Well, okay, I say offerings of friendship here, but it's really not. They were basically like, hey, we want you to partner with us and everything, and I'm not saying anything, but I just want to remind you that your Unreal Engine license is about up. So, I'm just saying, you just think about that while you think about all these other things that I've presented to you.
And the way they present it too is it's like just exactly like she just said, and then at the end of that they say that license has some of the best terms we've ever offered to UE4, which means you're still gonna pay us, but you're gonna pay us a lot more than you are.
To be fair, reading the rest of this is an email, or basically this from a couple of years ago. From Epic to Sony, and they're like, okay, look, Sony, we really want to be your friend, so we'll literally do anything for you. We'll announce whatever you want, crossplay in conjunction with Sony so that you look like the good guys. Actually, it says to make Sony look like the heroes. That is a quote from the email. Epic brands its E3 presence with PlayStation. We're gonna do all of these crazy big things. It's like, it's weird. Like, Epic is that weird clinger at the bar that won't leave you alone. Like, it seemed okay at the onset, like, we're having conversation, and this is good, and okay, everything's great, and then they won't go away.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it is, because they did the whole crossplay thing, and then Epic's like, let's take this further. Let me integrate into everything. And it's like
the worst Sony's line at the bar. The clinger looks at you and goes, let me integrate.
Let's me integrate.
Like, and then Sony's
they
response
tried
is basically like, that's
Can
cool,
I buy you a
think
drink
about it.
and integrate? That'd be great.
Well,
to top it off, okay, so they're so desperate for all this shit and for the cross-platform thing to happen that they bog them. Like, Sony's like, you know what, we're gonna do cross-platform, but we're gonna do it our way, which is if you don't reach a certain amount of sales, we're in cross-platform, we're not charging anything. But because you sell so much,
we're gonna charge you.
We're gonna look at your percentage of the sales that you have, and we want a percentage from the other platforms you're using if you don't reach us, if we're not 90% of your sales. Like, what? And so to give you an idea, if you had $1 million that you made in a month and $900,000 of that was from PlayStation, you'd pay $0 in cross-platform stuff. But if you had $1 million in month 2 and you made 600,000, then you only have 60% of your revenue is coming from them. So they end up taking 95% of the share of that. So they want the 95% share. So they end up with $52,500 is what you have to pay Sony to have that crossplay. But you're mad at Apple for taking the 30% on their own platform?
Yeah. Like, this is
Meanwhile, these guys are taking a percentage of shit from Xbox and Switch and whatever, you know? And then I think if I remember correctly too, if you purchase it on Sony, you can't use those coins on the other platforms.
You have to use your V-Bucks or whatever on the...
You can't use your... You have to buy your V-Bucks separately. If you bought them on Sony, you have to buy more on other platforms.
Even though all of your content shares.
The reply from Sony for the Epic Games crossplay merging thing, they said, let's see.
I thought the first line was incredibly funny, or the first bit, where it's like, sorry that you feel things are moving too slowly for Epic with PlayStation and cross-platform play. I was under the impression that there was no movement with Microsoft on cross-platform. Has that changed? Like... Dude, you want us to go fast, but Microsoft's like, I don't understand. Why do you want us to late speed this when Microsoft's still in the no camp?
Yeah. And then they said, I appreciate the points you listed in the mail. There are a lot of great ideas here for continued partnership. However, cross-platform play is not a slam dunk, no matter the size of the title. So basically, they straight said, I don't care about Fortnite. It's not that good. It's not going to bring us that much.
The way I look at it is this is the mentality of Sony anyway. Sony didn't want to do cross-platform up to this point anyway, because Fortnite and Rocket League were the first two to have cross-platform from Sony. And so you look at this and it's like, okay, this shows you the mentality of where Sony was at the time, which is none of this slam. Yeah, they didn't want in it because they didn't want to slam dunk. But it's like when you take two of the largest platform games and put them on your platform, you have an option to be able to play that.
The main reason that they are not like open to cross console play because it does not improve PlayStation business, and they state that nobody has been able to disprove them. Nobody has been able to explain why cross console play is a good thing for PlayStation.
I mean, from the outside, we can be like, well, because then I don't have to buy another console if I've already bought your console. I don't have to pick Xbox because that's where my friends are. But the opposite, as Chicken pointed out earlier, is also true. Well, if you want to play your games on PlayStation with your friends, it means that you should convince your friends to buy the PlayStation so you guys can play together. Like, exactly. I see both sides of that now, and it's like, oh, Sony really caught people in a catch-22 with this.
But they're right, though. They need people to buy their consoles so that they can buy their exclusives.
But the reason people buy their console is because of their exclusives.
Exactly.
PlayStation, but with the recent sales of PlayStation and Xbox have proven, is the fact console's not dead. You know, for the last 2-3 years, everybody's thought that everybody's moving to PC. That's whatever. But the recent sales, what bots buying these things have proven is that there is a demand for them, and people want to buy the actual systems themselves. And I think with the PlayStation 5, their exclusivity is the only reason I own their product. It used to be my main product until the Xbox came along, and I was introduced to this wonderful thing called Halo. And then I spent most of my time on Halo, and so my PlayStation didn't get as much love, but I do love their single player games and everything else to go along with it. But if I'm going to play a multiplayer game, I'm going to play either on PC or my Xbox. I'm not going to play on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because up until recently, I couldn't.
Yes, PlayStation didn't have a great track record for a long time with multiplayer, which is sad because I think it was PS3, I want to say, one of their big pushes for it was they had that 60-something player multiplayer game. I don't even remember what it's called now. But it never worked. Like, they couldn't support, the network couldn't support it.
It wasn't Resistance, right? No, Resistance had just a regular multiplayer.
Oh, come on.
I can't remember what it was, but I remember.
Black, you should know it.
It was a Battlefield style game, right?
Yeah, it was like a shooter. And I want to say it was like one word title or something like that.
It was a
one
word title.
Supposed to have like 60 something. I want to say it was like 62 people.
64.
Was it
64 players?
64 player multiplayer. It was the biggest multiplayer game that was ever going to exist. It was going to be massive to show off how great PlayStation Network was and everything. And they just couldn't support it.
Oh, their network was trash.
Exactly. I mean, that's the problem. Is their network was trash. Bach is looking it up furiously, or he's like Googling right now trying to figure it out. Although it's bothering me. It was what?
Mag?
Mag!
Yes,
I was like,
Mag.
It's not Max, but that's the only thing I could think of. Yeah, it was Mag.
Yeah, it was Mag.
Yeah. And it did so well that we all know it.
When you were talking about, I could see the cover, but my brain was like,
I was like, it's right there. What the hell?
Because we had so many of them that we had to reshelve. It's like I could see it. I just can't see the title on it.
It was very generic.
It was. I mean, it was basically like generic shooter number 4, but with theoretically 64 people.
Well, it was multiplayer only too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it's like you were purchasing a game for probably $60 just for basically one map that's broken.
I mean, yeah, that's also why, like, when they shut down the servers for it, like GameStop and any place that took in games, like they were like, nope, we're not taking this anymore.
Well, I mean, what are you gonna do with it? Yeah. The server shut down and it's a multiplayer only.
Yep.
People could do their own servers, I guess, but I don't think the game was good enough for people to do that.
Well, you can play 4v4, I guess, on it. In your one server.
Totally.
Yeah, it was 32 versus 32.
Well, the other little thing that I definitely want to hit with Epic Games is that another little it looks like a slide came out, and it showed that they're trying to get Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft first-party games on the Epic Games Store, which they're individual tactics. I'm gonna read the Nintendo one first because it's hilarious. Even they know that it's not gonna happen, but their bullet points are: not started is a moonshot unto itself. So they know that ain't gonna happen. They can send an email, but it's just gonna get laughed. Corporate history says this is a non-starter, which is 100% true. You will not get Nintendo first-party games on the Epic Games Store. You will not. That is how it works. So that ain't happening. for Sony first party titles, they extended a $200 million dollar. I don't know what MG stands for. MG plus. I don't know. $200 million MG plus for 4 to 6 titles. So they were offering $200 million for 4 to 6 first party titles, and they were awaiting feedback. So that was their offer. For Microsoft, you could tell that they were a little bit of the jealous one when it came to Microsoft. Epic was opening conversations, and internal feedback from Microsoft is their PC Game Pass leader is against what we're doing. So they are effectively bidding against us for content, which
Shocking.
is true because Microsoft wants content. And Phil is meeting with Gabe at Valve occasionally, which
I want to know when this was
guarantee-
written too, though, because
Yeah.
is this before the Microsoft games? Because Halo was the first one that moved over to Valve, right?
Right.
So I'm wondering if this is just before all that took place, like let's say 6 months to a year beforehand, moving that over. But you know what? If I bet you if Gabe Newell sent a message to Tim Cook would probably know who he was.
Maybe.
I bet he would.
Just gonna think
I
that.
bet money that he would. Oh, he's like, oh, you're that Valve guy, aren't you? Like, yeah.
But it's
I
because
run
Tim Cook
Steam.
has a PC at home that he plays games on, doesn't tell anybody about.
Well, to be fair, Steam actually supports Mac, so
There you go.
Yeah.
That's yep.
I think why Phil's meeting with Gabe is because if they're still in talks, because one, they've already moved a bunch of Microsoft first parties onto Steam,
Yes, it
that
keeps
they
advertising Sea
could
of Thieves to me.
they could be trying to get the Game Pass onto Steam too, where Gabe's like, yeah, we'll take a small cut of that if you wanna
kind of
bring
like
it
the
over
EA
here.
ones currently on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we have EA over here. If people, just bring it as one little place. You can keep your storefront if people want to buy your games over there. More than welcome to. But if you want to offer your Game Pass client to all of the Steam people, you're more than welcome to. I mean, that's just more. That's just. It's not a merger or anything. It's just an agreement between big companies like that, and that will make Epic even more upset. And I guarantee they would try to go after them next.
That would be them trying to go after a monopoly. That's 100% them trying to, because that's borderline. It is borderline,
But
because you have to keep the Xbox client still active.
Yes.
If you eliminated the Xbox client,
I don't see them eliminating that though.
no, I don't either.
Neither
It
do
comes
I. I think
standard
it's
with
too much.
Windows 10 now, so.
Well, but I think it's also
that
how it
opening
works,
it up,
right?
Yeah, I think opening it up would do the same thing that it does for Ubisoft or EA games. It just opens up the Game Pass client.
Does anybody here own games that are part of Xbox, like Microsoft, that are on Steam?
Yes.
Wait, yeah, we
Does
own
it-
we bought the Master Chief Collection through Steam before
Okay.
before
Whenever-
we had Game Pass.
Oh, that's right. I do too. But it doesn't open up your Xbox. You can close it.
No, but
it makes you sign into your Xbox
whenever-
account though.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
sign
it
into
is.
your Xbox account, and you have to give it permission to for the Steam game to run your Microsoft account.
Yeah.
Because you have to sign in, and then it's like, are you sure you want to give this permission to your account? And it's like, yes. And then you get an email that says, you have linked your such and such with this game.
Yeah.
So you still
Oh.
have to sign in to your Microsoft account.
Which
So-
is like shadow signing into your Xbox because it's going to use your Xbox tag.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely is shadow signing. Which, like, I think these kind of feel like mutual agreements where it's business people trying to do business. And then you've got Tim Sweeney over here screeching, yelling, waving his torch or something, trying to start an uprising
Yeah.
or something. He's
Well,
trying to be the mover and shaker, but he's
guess-
not really moving or shaking anything.
I guess it's almost a feeling of entitlement. Like, maybe that's not what it is, but that's kind of how it comes across. Is Tim Sweeney going, "I'm the dude that's in charge of Epic, and we have a storefront. How come you won't do all of this stuff for us, like you will with Valve, or like you will with Microsoft, or whoever he's mad at the moment?" And it's like, maybe you should calm down and look at what they've spent years building. How old's your storefront? How full is your storefront? Can you offer us the same things that they offer us in return for what we're
but I
offering?
also feel like he's also one of those things, like it's almost like he's trying to prey on this whole thing of these major corporations, these major tech companies don't love you as much as I love you. You should come to me because I love you. I really, really do. Love me too.
Yeah, definitely
It's like-
the desperation is there.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, please stop, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yes, Microsoft is not a perfect company. Apple's not a perfect company. They're not, but they work their asses off to get to where they're at, and they're making money for a reason. Figure out how to make your own damn money instead of sitting there trying to take everybody else's away.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue that Epic has ever come into was Fortnite got too big. Like,
Yeah.
Epic thought that they were as big as Fortnite, but their child outgrew them tenfold. And now that it's coming down, they're like, we're still that big. It's like, no, your child is coming down. It is nowhere near as popular as it was. You were never that popular. Like,
Yeah.
you
What
cannot
if-
be living off of that hype.
What if what ends up coming out on all this is when Tencent purchased them in 2012, like 40% of the company, they said, okay, you have exactly 10 years and we're buying the rest of you up if you don't make this amount of money.
And
And
they're
that's
trying.
coming at this end, because if you think about the last year and a half of how they've been,
They've been
Like, that's-
pushing.
yeah, they've been pushing like crazy. So it's almost like they're like, oh my God, yes, we can make it. We can make it. We can get to here.
I wonder how much longer until Phil Spencer slides into Tim Sweeney's DMs being like, okay, look, we see that you're having some troubles. Do you want Microsoft to buy you? With the way that Microsoft's been acquiring studios and everything, just be like, you know, I'm just putting this out there. Maybe you should consider it.
Or you just get baby Microsoft to buy them, which is THQ Nordic and their group of people. To be
Baby
fair, that's what I think
Microsoft.
of like that's what I think of THQ Nordic is like their baby Microsoft. They buy pretty much all the other studios and they kind of bring them into this little giant family that's like, hey,
To
let's
be
make
fair,
games.
if you give them another 5 years and consoles are still a major thing, they could have their own console and just put all their exclusives on it.
They absolutely could.
I think though.
It'd be,
Go ahead.
They could probably create their own client that runs better than the Epic Games client.
I think
100%.
after a while, Tencent's gonna be like, look, you're struggling, and we can see that. Just give us the reins, we'll fix this, and then you'll get a lot of like
Ugh.
super corporate stuff that happens with it, and it'll probably
And it
be
will-
more successful. But
I was about to say it
No.
would probably improve actually,
yeah,
but it'll
the
improve in
downside
a
is
very
like
stringent
at what
way.
cost?
At the cost of Tim Sweeney. Goodbye.
Tim. Bye, Tim. Oh my God.
Then he ends up over at Microsoft, or he ends up over at
No,
Valve.
God, no, please
No.
no. Tim Sweeney needs to retire on a beach somewhere. Like, dude, you served your purpose. Enjoy life. Move on.
He and
You
Randy
know,
Pitchford
go be a
probably hang
smarmy
out.
douchebag to the guy that brings you your drinks. Not.
Please
to the
don't.
rest
Don't
of
be a
us.
dick to service workers just because you used to be rich.
Well, he's gonna be a smarmy douchebag no matter what. I just prefer it not to be the rest of us. So.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Maybe there's some schmarmy douchebag that can't get a job that he's now working that, and so schmarmy douchebag's being a schmarmy douchebag to a schmarmy douchebag. So. Too funny. Anything else?
No, I'm just reading through these comments, and it's like some of these people are just like, I don't know why Epic brought this up. Like they're just making themselves look bad, like really bad. They're okay with Sony doing to them what they're complaining Apple's doing to them. It's like, yeah, Epic just doesn't know what they're doing. They are so
but
lost.
it's not fair when people do it back.
Yeah.
Sony is doing it to them. Apple was doing it to them.
They should be
Google
suing
was doing it to
Sony,
them.
not Apple. I think is the
Yes.
point in this, right?
Yes, they don't know who to go after or what they're complaining about. They're just the old guy yelling at their lawn, going, "Is that my property line? Was that my? Who? I don't know what I'm yelling at. Get off his lawn."
Get off his lawn.
It's something else. It has been something, all right.
But Mr. Anderson, I'm in my yard. Get off my lawn. I
That's my lawn
met
now.
old people like that. It's like that. It's not your lawn, dude.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much a good analogy right there. Be like, get off Apple's lawn. It's not yours, Tim. Get off. It's not yours to complain about. If he wants to cut it every day, he can. If he wants to let it grow for a week, he can. Quit complaining, you old something or another.
You old something another.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make me come after you, boy. You old something another. Oh, too funny. Anything else?
God. No.
We do appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week in Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Griff.
At Griff Slineham.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
And check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Griff's YouTube channel. You got all these videos, all of them. Watch all of them. Watch all of them. Wolfwood was watching me live the other day and watching Griff at the same time on 2 different screens. So make sure.
That's commitment, yo.
Yeah. He goes, I'm watching 2 wonderful people. That's what he stated right off the bat. I've got him fooled.
It must have been Griffin Baka on one of their Halo runs.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, I try to make it as entertaining as I can, killing Griff. Look
like
what I can do, Griff. I can drive the warthog in here. Dum, dum.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny. Also, make sure that you go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313. If you don't get to see him live, at least watch the videos of him playing through a brand new game of a series that he absolutely adores, Resident Evil. Chicken, you're on today. If you don't finish today, when do you think you'll be on next?
Hopefully tomorrow, too.
Okay. So Monday, when this is released. So
yeah,
watch
tonight.
Chicken.
If you don't, well, Monday night. There we go.
Monday night. There you go. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/MDB Oaktree. We can check me out almost every day of the week. You know, playing video games and stuff. Raven Respawn. I'm Oaktree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.